2013 saw the end of the V8 era, but 2014 heralds a brand new dawn for Formula One. The biggest shake-up for a generation represents a huge technical challenge for teams, drivers and engine manufacturers. For the first time since the late 80s, turbos are back, but this time they are more sophisticated than their predecessors and push the boundaries of technology. Different designs have come and gone, but these groundbreaking regulations will transform the pinnacle of motorsport. The far-reaching changes focus on efficiency and energy recovery without losing performance and power, ensuring innovation, speed and intrigue remain at the heart of Formula One. With new technology comes new terminology. The biggest talking point in 2014 is the new power units.
The term power unit far better describes what we have here. It's not just an engine. An engine is one component of the power unit. You've got the internal combustion engine itself, you've got a turbocharger, you've got a motor generator unit for kinetic energy, and you've got a motor generator unit for heat energy.
The 2014 power units consist of a 1.6-litre V6 internal combustion engine that is rev-limited to 15,000 RPM, a turbocharger which exists to get more air into the engine and create more power, and an energy recovery system known as ERS. The ERS features an energy store, which, like a battery, retains energy recovered, then uses it to propel the car using the MGU Kinetic, one of two motor generator units. This is attached to the engine crankshaft and converts kinetic energy recovered under braking into electrical energy. It provides a potential 160 brake horsepower performance boost for around 30 seconds, far more than the previous KERS systems. The MGU heat is connected to the turbocharger and converts heat or exhaust gas energy into electrical energy. This energy can be stored or sent directly to the MGU Kinetic to be used instantly. All of this will be regulated by the control electronics, known as the brain of the car. This has huge implications for the racing strategy and driving style in 2014. Under acceleration, the MGU heat can act as a generator. It can recover energy from the exhaust and send it directly to the MGU Kinetic or to the energy store. The MGU Kinetic will act as a motor and deliver additional power to accelerate the car or save fuel, depending on the chosen strategy. The MGU Kinetic operates as a generator unit, capturing some of the kinetic energy wasted under braking. To recharge the energy store unit, this is similar to KERS. On the exit of braking, the MGU heat briefly acts as a motor to accelerate the turbo to its optimum speed to prevent what is traditionally known as turbo lag. Over the course of a lap, the driver will have managed the harvesting of energy. This can be called upon to increase the power output of the internal combustion engine, for example, to overtake. The driver now has 120 kilowatts or 160 horsepower of extra boost available for around 30 seconds, compared to 60 kilowatts or 80 horsepower for 7 seconds from last season's KERS. Formula One is now using around 1/3 less fuel without compromising on speed or power.
When the driver puts his foot on the throttle, all he's interested in is feeling the car accelerate, and he doesn't really want to worry about whether it's coming from the IC engine, from the electric motor, from the e-turbo, or where it's coming from. He just wants the car to go. The systems are now very complex, and making the systems operate to fully satisfy the driver and to make best use of the available chemical energy in the fuel and the energy recovered during the braking phase is, of course, a big ask.
The most important thing is the efficiency, because the amount of fuel that the cars are allowed to use is much less. They can only use a fuel flow of 100 kilograms an hour, and for the race they're only allowed to use 100 kilograms, whereas before a typical figure was 140 kilos, for example. So there's a significant reduction in the amount of fuel used by the cars, and hence the whole package is much more energy efficient.
Success in 2014 will depend on the combination of engine, team and driver that does the best job of extracting maximum performance from the 100 kilograms of fuel permitted.
Fuel management's going to be critical to the outcome of a race, and the better the team, the better the driver, obviously the better job they're going to do with it. But I don't think we'll see any of the sort of things we saw before when fuel was limited, i.e. cars running out and things like that, because the power units are far more sophisticated than that, and I think they'll know precisely how much fuel they've used.
It is not just the engines. The 2014 Formula One cars look very different this year. Teams have explored various solutions to the lowering of the chassis, and in doing so, they have significantly changed the profile of the car.
Well, the nose is for safety alone. When a nose runs into the back of the rear wheel, typically of a car, as we saw with Mark Webber in Valencia a few years ago, cars have a tendency to launch because the nose gets lifted up by the wheel. We can see that there is an optimum height for the nose. We want to keep that down below the centre line of the rear wheels, and that's what we've done.
To lower downforce, the rear wing has been reduced in size and the front wing has been narrowed. The side pods and their openings have increased to accommodate the greater cooling requirements of the new engines and a new regulation side impact structure. Only a single exhaust tailpipe is permitted. Its central position and the fact that no bodywork is allowed in this vicinity dramatically reduces downforce being generated by the exhaust gases.
The changes we got now are pretty significant. The low nose, the narrower front wing, which, it may not sound much, 75 millimetres per side narrower, but the flow in that area is so fundamental to the whole aerodynamics of the car. Up at the back, we've lost the beam wing again. It doesn't sound terribly significant, but every part of the aerodynamics of these cars really has to work in harmony, and any change can be quite difficult to get everything working again. So overall, we've had a loss of downforce compared to last year, and we're working hard to try and recover it.
From 2014, it will be much easier to identify the drivers. Each driver has chosen a number between 2 and 99, which will remain with him throughout his F1 career.
I chose number 6 because it was my dad's lucky number and my fiancé's lucky number. So I said, okay, let's go for that.
The number must be clearly visible from the front of the car and on the driver's helmet. The coveted number 1 is reserved for the current world champion. Teams can now enter up to 4 drivers in each of the Friday practice sessions. They still only have 2 cars, but the biggest change is that these drivers can change during the session. The tyre allocation has been increased for this season.
In P1, we now have an extra set of tyres. This is to encourage people to run in P1, really for the fans, so they pay their money and come and see people running. And we have an extra set of tyres in qualifying to encourage people to be running in Q3, so no more tyre saving, and we'll see more of the cars out there. And that's really just for the fans.
The driver penalty system has also been revamped.
Drivers will now accrue penalty points if they do anything wrong, in much the same way as you get points on your driving licence. They will have a maximum number of points they can accrue during a 12-month period, and if they reach that target, then they will be given a race off.
The race stewards can now hand out 5-second penalties for minor infringements, which can be taken as part of the pit stop before the team services the car. While the FIA has introduced harsher pit lane release rules. Drivers previously had 8 engines available for the season. Now they're limited to just 5 power units. Should a driver use more than 5 of any one of its component parts during the season, a number of penalties are available to the stewards, while gearboxes must do 6 consecutive events. Clarification on driver celebrations means that scenes like this will no longer see a driver sent to the stewards. Even if one team pulls clear of the rest of the field, they cannot afford to take their foot off the pedal. With double points now on offer at the season finale in Abu Dhabi, it's highly likely that the championship will go down to the wire.
Well, I think it's a new challenge, obviously a complete new power unit, as they call it, and a lot of new things, I think, for the drivers to look out for, especially managing the race. Could be very different to what we have known in the past.
One of the best things about the sport this year is it's so unpredictable. You know, we really don't know who's going to be competitive at the first race and whether they will be at the end of the year.
Well, this is the year to watch because it's such a big change. You don't know what team is going to be up the front. Hopefully it's us, but we'll see. And with the new rules and everything, it just makes it a new. It's almost like a fresh start for the sport, I think.
I think the biggest thing we're going to see is a huge difference in the racing, because the drivers will have to think a lot more. They'll have to use their fuel, they'll have to use their tyres much more. They'll have to think a lot more, as I say. And I think the differences between all the new engines and new approaches to things will make 2014 a really exciting season.